Children are always excited when we reach this week's Torah portion because they get to meet Noach and his ark and his animals. But there are some important lessons for us big boys and girls as well. God gives Noach very specific instructions as to how to build the ark. One of the items that he tells him to include is a tzohar, a skylight. And the Medrash brings down two opinions as to what the skylight was. One opinion is that it was a window. The other opinion is that it was a precious jewel. What's the difference? If it was a window, light can come in and you can see out. If it's a jewel, light can come in, but you can't see out. What's the lesson for us? Well, there are times when we just want to sit on our couch like a giant potato, with a remote control in our hand, or an iPad in our hand, or both, and it's just, leave me alone. I do not care what is going on out there, out the window. I just want to be left alone. I don't want to hear about who needs me or what they need. Just enough. Leave me alone. And God says, got to put that window in your ark. Got to put that window in your home. Got to pay attention to who there is out there that needs you. You have to look. There are communal organizations. There are charities. There are schools. There are people. There are sick people. They need you. You can't sit on your couch and spend your life like a potato. You got to go outside, look at them through that window, find out what people need, and go help them. We're told that one of the arguments that Moses made when he was trying to convince God to let him into the promised land was this. He said, God, I have an idea. Strip me of my leadership role. Let Joshua take the Jews into Israel and continue to lead them. I'll just be a regular dude. I'll live on my farm in my overalls, and I'll just observe all the agricultural laws that can only be kept in the land of Israel, and I'll be perfectly happy. And God said back to him, something along the lines of, no go, Mo, it's not going to work. Because even if you're not the actual leader, you're still going to be Moshe. You're still going to have all of those talents. You're still going to be the great leader. You're still going to be the greatest Torah scholar. You can't just be a hermit on your farm. When the Jewish people need answers to difficult questions, you'd have to answer them. You got to have that window in your ark, looking out, helping others. But there are other times when it's got to be a jewel. Because there are people inside your ark, inside your home, that need you. Depending on where you are and how old you are, it could be your parents, it could be your spouse, it could be your children, it could be your roommate. There are people that need you. And if you're too preoccupied with looking out the window and helping others, you can neglect those inside your house. I know a woman who is the daughter of a very prominent communal leader and rabbi. And she told me that after he died, during the Shiva, many people, droves of people came to visit the Shiva house. And they told her story after story after story, heartwarming, inspirational stories about the difference that her father had made in their lives. And she said it was so nice to hear all those stories. It was so nice to hear the effect that her father had in inspiring people and in helping them. But it was also bittersweet. Because each time she heard one of those stories, she couldn't help but wonder to herself, where was my father when I needed him when I was growing up? He always had time for everybody else, but he didn't have time for me. And that's tragic. Sometimes it's got to be a jewel in that window slot, so that you can't look out, so you pay attention to what's going on inside. And there are other times when we have to close a window. We have to close, often, browser windows, and maybe filter them, and be more judicious with respect to the waters that we and our children surf on the internet. And there are other times when we have to close the window because of the temptations of the street. I spent the night on the famous Las Vegas Strip last week while speaking at a lawyers' conference. And while gazing out the wonderful view of my window and all of the temptations that the Strip provides, I couldn't help but think that sometimes God's telling us, you got to just close the curtain on that window.